what? Like, I'm in Ireland. She's back home in California with her kids, like doing school drop off, and she's the front page of every single one of these things. She's not, what are they talking about? Like, there's no content, there's nothing to say.
Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and that you had a great week. To all of my house guests, as you may have gathered, I'm not in front of the camera today, unfortunately, due to me not being in my regular location. However, grab yourselves a drink and make yourselves comfortable. If you're passing by and you'd like to become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I'm Chez, this is Chez M0i. Welcome to my place. Now, to all of my house guests who are believers, happy Resurrection Sunday. This is the day this video is being uploaded. And to everyone watching, I hope you're enjoying the Easter break. I know some of you are of other faiths, but you still get some time off. Now, speaking of Resurrection Sunday, this is the time when, over 2,000 years ago, the establishment of the day, which were the chief priests and elders, according to scripture, didn't want it to be known that Jesus vacated the tomb that was sealed because it would make them look extremely incompetent. So what did they do? They paid Roman soldiers huge amounts of money to say that Jesus' disciples came and stole his body in the middle of the night while everyone was asleep. Now, purely from an earthly perspective, we fast forward 2 millennia later and nothing has really changed, has it? The establishment of this day is still paying huge sums of money for people to spread lies and fake narratives about high-profile, influential people they want to bring down, because those public figures sometimes effortlessly highlight the establishment's incompetence, inefficiency, insatiable greed for attention and popularity, and blatant hypocrisy. My mum has a catalogue of sayings which my siblings and I still hear to this day. One of them is, if you dig a hole for someone, you better make sure you dig a hole for yourself. And these sayings have truth to them. This one, if we go back to scripture again, is based on Proverbs 26:27, and it's another way of saying you reap what you sow, but with a more negative connotation. Now, with regard to what's going on at Centre Barley, for instance, the Telegraph have had to issue an apology after spreading false information about Prince Aso. Here is the article published on the 16th of April, which, as you can see, is way too long. I'm not going to read it out loud, guys, but I will link it in the description box below if you want to read it for yourself. What I will do, however, is read a short overview from a different publication, just so you can get the gist. This article is from celebrity.com, published on the 18th of April 2025. And the headline reads, "The Telegraph eventually corrected their story about Prince Seiso's brother." This week, The Telegraph published a lengthy interview with Chief Kobane Theko, sorry for the pronunciation, of Sentebale. Chief Theko claimed that he was Prince Seiso's brother. Seiso and Prince Harry co-founded Sentebale together in 2006, and they were dual patrons of the foundation before they stepped down jointly in late March. As soon as they stepped down together, everyone made it all about Harry and Meghan. As in, Meghan was to blame for all of the problems within Sentebale and something. Meghan said hi to Sophie Chandoka, and Chandoka lost her damn mind. It's been a very bizarre story to follow. What makes matters worse is that an outlet like The Telegraph would publish such a blatant hit piece on the Sussexes, and they didn't bother fact-checking one crucial point. Chief Theko is not Prince Seiso's brother. Seiso has one brother, King Letsi III of Lesotho. No one at The Telegraph bothered fact-checking that before they published it. I guess not, but Us Weekly had an update. Following Prince Harry's exit from Sentebale, drama ensued, including a man falsely claiming to be the brother of co-founder Prince Seiso of Lesotho. After the man's inaccurate claims made headlines, Us Weekly learned that Principal Chief Kobane Theko is not Seiso's brother and has no connection to the charity. Among the allegations Theko claimed to The Telegraph on Wednesday, April 16th, was that Harry could have visited Lesotho more often. Harry's 2024 visit to Lesotho marked his first in 6 years, including 2 years at the height of the global pandemic. He had previously travelled there 4 times between 2010 and 2015. Theko, for his part, claimed he was perturbed to see Harry and his wife Meghan Markle taking a trip to Africa in September 2019 without going to Lesotho. During the trip, the couple had a busy itinerary, with meeting Archbishop Desmond Tutu, a tour of the District 6 Museum, a trip to Monwabisi Beach, and planting trees at the Chobe Forest Tree Reserve, among other things. I looked around at other coverage too, and page 6 actually wrote, "Principal Chief Kobane Theko, a man claiming to be co-founder Prince Seiso's brother." Like, people, this isn't hard. I fact-checked this in a matter of minutes using Wikipedia. Why did The Telegraph lie? I also wondered why all of these people have zero smoke for Seiso, and why Seiso hasn't said anything other than signing off on the joint statements with Harry. I'm not saying Seiso is responsible for any of this, but how long can he stay silent as people are falsely claiming to be his brother? All to attack Harry and Meghan. Oh, look at that. The Telegraph eventually edited their piece and added this correction at the very end of their article. Correction. This article previously reported that Chief Kobane Theko is the brother of Prince Seiso of Lesotho. This was incorrect. Chief Theko is the Chief Whip of Lesotho's Senate and a senior and influential member of the College of Chiefs and the royal family. We are happy to correct the record. Now, it's not a surprise that this lame apology, if you can even call it that, is a tiny paragraph at the end of the original article. This pretty much demonstrates the fact that the establishment in all its forms, including the media, are extremely lazy and will try and get away with doing the bare minimum for the highest reward available. Now, focusing on the UK for a few minutes. Following Harry's recent appearance at the Court of Appeal in London, it would appear that Charles is having major security concerns of his own. This article is from news.sky.com, published on the 18th of April 2025, and the headline reads, "No-fly zone over King's home at Sandringham after drone sightings." Move comes after the devices were reportedly spotted during Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to the Norfolk estate in March. A no-fly zone has been put in place over the King's home at Sandringham after drone sightings were reported during the Ukrainian president's visit to the estate. The restrictions were requested by security services on 4th of March, days after Charles hosted Volodymyr Zelensky, and came into force on 10th of March. Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander signed off on the order that restricts aircraft from flying below 2,000 feet at Sandringham for reasons of public safety and security. The order states, these regulations impose restrictions on flying in the vicinity of Sandringham House, Norfolk. In view of the need for security for members of the royal family and other dignitaries staying at or visiting Sandringham House, and at the request of the security services, it has been agreed by the Civil Aviation Authority and the Department for Transport that flying should be restricted in the vicinity of that location for reasons of public safety and security. The order does not apply to royal flights, visitors' aircraft, and police and emergency services. The King hosted the Ukrainian leader while he was in the UK for a defence summit in London. Drones on the estate sparked a major security operation, with one traced to a man sitting in a car nearby and the source of others believed to be unknown, The Sun reported. Buckingham Palace did not comment. There's a surprise. As with many of these occurrences, the irony doesn't escape me that Harry's Invictus Foundation has been instrumental in the care and rehabilitation of wounded Ukrainian soldiers, while the Ukrainian president is being wined and dined by Harry's father. Here's a nice message that Meghan posted on her Instagram account last week from a lady called Julia Sivrijenko. I'm sure I pronounced that incorrectly. I do apologise. And she says, Your Royal Highness, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for everything that your family is doing for Ukraine and for helping us draw the world's attention to humanitarian demining in Ukraine. Demining will allow millions of displaced Ukrainians to return home and allow thousands of children to go to school without fear. This means so very much to all of us. A remarkable group of women who live in the border region of Chez M0i, an area affected by landmines, have prepared this Easter bread for you and your family. Today, they, along with all of us, are deeply moved, knowing that this symbolic offering, Easter bread, made from flour harvested from demined fields, will be on your table. Thank you from all Ukrainians for your kindness and good-heartedness. Oh, that's lovely. I love that. Speaking of grateful and productive women, I finally managed in the last day or so to listen to Meghan's podcast, the first episode with Whitney Wolf Herd. And I loved the format, I loved the content. I was pleasantly surprised to see or hear that videos that I've done are reflective of points raised and what we've discussed in the comments. But I always notice that it's not Meghan that raises that topic, it's always her guests.
What has happened to you is at such a magnitude that no one can understand. Can I share the story of where I had that revelation when I was walking through the airport in Ireland?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I stalked through the airport in Ireland and I walked over by whatever their equivalent of like a W.H. Smith or whatever those Hudson
Newsstand,
News are.
yeah.
Yes. And my jaw hit the floor. You were the cover of every single magazine and newspaper in Ireland. And every single one said something different. I mean, random headline. You were the cover of every single one of those magazines, tabloids, and newspapers. And I had this moment where I was like,
And this was a couple of years ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my, what? Like, I'm in Ireland. She's back home in California with her kids, like doing school drop off. And she's the front page of every single one of these things. What are they talking about? Like, there's no content. There's nothing to say. So, I mean, I just had this moment where I was like, wow, this is a different beast. I mean,
But it doesn't feel different, whether it's at that scale or not.
Now, the conversation reinforced the fact that despite what women are told constantly by the red pill community, we do have worth and value. Jesus held women in high esteem, even if that woman was a prostitute. The hypersensitive, ultra-pious amongst us seem to forget that there was a prostitute in Jesus's lineage, and she's actually named because she wasn't defined by what she did for a living, but rather how she changed the course of the future of a nation. Therefore, you shouldn't see it as a coincidence that it was a woman who first saw the empty tomb. Meghan's podcast is a reminder that although we may never be the perfect Proverbs 31 woman, we can still be completely feminine while fiercely advocating for women to be treated fairly, so that their worth, value, and contributions are recognised and acknowledged.
but I do think there is so much to be said for your ability to exist even in the presence of that. Like, that takes a very strong cookie, you know, because I remember when I was going through the media storm and being called this and that and this and that at Tinder, I didn't leave my house for like a month and a half. I was completely paranoid. I was totally depressed. I was scared to go to the grocery store. I was humiliated. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to go to a party where I'd see anyone because I'm like,
You wondered if they believed it.
yeah, what are they thinking about me? They must think I'm a this. They must think I'm a that. And so I like shrunk into this shell of myself where
We turtle.
yeah, I just turtled. I was like, wow, I'm never going outside again. I'll just live, I'll just live in my own isolated world. But then I decided, I was like, I'm going to rebuild myself. I'm going to rebuild myself.
But how did that happen? How did you come out of the shell and decide to move past that? Because I think that's really important for people to hear. No matter whatever scale they're at, there's going to be a point where you're going to take a hit.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a point where you're going to have to decide if you're going to cower or if you're going to conquer or if you're going to rise above it. But it will be helpful for people to know what was the pivotal point where you just said, okay, I can't do this anymore. I've got to figure out a way out, and how.
Yeah, I had a moment where I realized it was crazy. It was almost like an out of body moment where I was reading all these crazy things about myself on Twitter or whatever the format was at the time.
You were reading it all.
Oh yeah, of course. Because
Oh my gosh.
what is this? Like a crazy.
Oh
I know.
gosh, that's so sorry.
Lesson learned. But
Yeah.
I remember thinking, oh my God. And I think I had this like out of body experience where I put myself into my 13-year-old body. And I thought, excuse my French, but holy, like imagine being 13 years old and dealing with this type of behavior from the kids at school that you think are the center of the world.
Yes.
Like, imagine if these people talking about you were the kids you looked up to at school or wanted to be a part of their group at school. And then you got picked up from school, and when we grew up, Meg, we could go home with no devices.
And that was it.
That was it. You're out of the battle zone.
You're done.
You get to escape until tomorrow. No. They're going home and they're reading that all night long. And I literally was like, oh my God, I think I just went through this. I think this just happened for me, not to me. And my entire mindset shifted. And I was like, okay, what almost killed me can make us stronger. I have to go fix this problem for 13-year-olds. Like, I have to go fix this problem for young girls and women.
Yes.
And so that kicked off the beginning of M0i, which was meant to be the reason why the name. Wow, that was a 25-minute long-winded way of getting to the answer.
I didn't help, by the way, but it's important. It's important background to get back to the why.
It is. And I think ultimately why I was going to call it M0i is I wanted it to be an environment of thanks and gratitude. And thank you in French is merci. I speak French. I just like the name. I thought it was cute. And the currency of the product, like the core defining feature of the product, was going to be compliments only. No comments, just compliments.
Oh, sweet.
And there's a lot of literature and a lot of studies out there that actually show you the power of compliments. How if you compliment someone, you can have this butterfly effect on multiple people's days. Like you say something kind to someone, it's a ripple effect. They might say something kind to the next person. It changes the course of the energy of the day. And so I figured, let's engineer positivity into a product.
I found it really insightful listening to Whitney Wolf Herd when she explained how she dealt with media backlash in her own life and how she coped mentally, because she was reading things that were written about her, whereas Meghan pays zero attention to what's written or said about her. And I'm reminded once again that the media will skim through about 40 minutes of conversation to extract a 1-minute exchange out of context in order to create a talking point so they can meet next month's mortgage payment. By being economical with the truth and being willfully malicious, the mainstream media and the establishment still fail to understand that what they think may benefit them indirectly benefits the Sussexes, because that focus can be redirected to what they produce and who they help. The decline of the monarchy won't ever be because of Harry and Meghan. The decline of the monarchy will be because its survival depends on greed, hypocrisy, and insecurity rather than altruism, integrity, and confidence. With that said, guys, if your thoughts were provoked in any way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet become a house guest, don't forget to hit subscribe and activate all of your notifications. I want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend, and you shall catch me in the next video.